How to have a great tattoo consultation with your client. So, first thing you need to know when you're about to sit down and discuss a permanent piece of artwork on your client's body is to think about this organic cue. You have one mouth and two ears. The important thing about a tattoo consultation is that you are listening to what your client wants. It is so important for you to identify your skills and abilities and to be honest with your potential client if you're the one that could provide that specific image, and not just that image but also that service. If someone's wanting to get a memorial tattoo, they're probably having some sort of emotional response to it, and you need to be one that can be able to manage that, and that can make or break the tattoo session. You got to be able to be there at least some sort of empathetic manner so you can make them feel that the service that you provided is worth it to them, and this will lend to repeat clientele, referring you to other potential tattoo clients. Now, we also have to identify fit and flow. You want to identify if even the ideas they want to get put on their body are going to even work on a body. And what I mean by that is art is shapes. I always say art is like magic. It's lines, shapes, shades, and colors put together to create an illusion of some sort of image in front of you. Now, on that image, there's going to be circles, squares, rectangles. You want to make sure that the shapes of that artwork are going to fit the shapes of the area of the body that these clients would like to get that tattoo placed. You want to make sure that the art ideas match the body's physiology. If you want to identify the style, there's so many different styles of artwork in the tattoo realm. If it's American traditional or traditional, new traditional, black and gray realism, black and gray dot work, Japanese, watercolor. You want to identify the style, and then you want to identify if it makes sense for the tattoo to be colored or black and gray depending on their body's pigment. There's this misconception that you would put bright colors on dark skin and it'll stand up. But I always say that when looking at a tattoo, you're looking at it through the body's skin. So if you walk up to a painting on the wall and you take some dark sunglasses and you hold it up to the picture, you have to see the picture or the painting through the glasses. It's going to look darker. Just something to think about when you're working on darker tones, that you want to use larger imagery, more simplified, maybe even more graphic images that stand up because of their layout and dynamic composition, as opposed to contrast of color composition. So you've identified what they want to get done and why. If you are the right person to be able to bring this to them emotionally and empathetically, you want to identify if that artwork that they want to get done will match that particular place in that body and it'll fit and flow beautifully, if it'll be aesthetically pleasing. And then you want to identify if the image's color composition will match the type of color of the body. Then you want to identify if the color composition and layout of the tattoo will make sense on the body's color and tone. Now, there's also some really key things to a successful consultation, which will lead to a successful tattoo and more referrals, is you being also very honest with them. Being very honest with them with your time. Personally, I like to do tattoos over multiple sessions. At this point in my career, I don't do a lot of small tattoos. I at least break them up over 2 sessions. And my thought process behind that is less of a flesh wound, less trauma to the body. When you can optimally insert the tattoo ink into the body without over traumatizing it, it's going to heal better. You're going to have less ink molecules pushing out through the epidermis, thus requiring touch-ups and such, or any excessive trauma to the area which would cause scabbing or scarring. I like to be able to go through and basically put like a base coat down and letting that heal and then coming back and then layering my lighter tones, my details and highlights and such at the end. Maybe even, depending on the image, will require bolder peripheral line, depending on whatever the image calls for. But if you do have to do it in one session, obviously discuss with the client, hey, it's going to be painful. There's a way that you can utilize some painkillers like ibuprofen or Advil prior to a tattoo. I am not an advocate for any pre-numbing. Right now, the industry is being educated on how you need to avoid any sort of pre-numbing because there's a lot of products out there that are dangerous. Some of them have so much lidocaine in it that it puts the body into shock. Not to mention there could be unknown ingredients because there is no regulation on it. So I do not advocate for any sort of pre-numbing. This is something you would be discussing with your client prior to, saying, hey, we're gonna be really working on this area for 4, 5, 6 hours. We may want to discuss some sort of pain mitigating processes. Always informing your clients to stay well hydrated, to also eat a good meal prior to. I'm a big advocate of telling the clients to really take care of the body leading up to it, meaning making sure that they're moisturizing and hydrating the week up to. There's some people out there that don't shave their body a lot and have a lot of body hair. I typically tell them to avoid shaving the day of and let me to do it, just because I've seen some clients come in with a gnarly gash from shaving an area because they weren't used to it and they've cut themselves, and then we can't even work in that area. Not to put any sort of excessive oils or lotions on the skin, to keep it basically dry and free of any sort of topical anything. That way I can come to it basically a fresh, clean canvas that I can then prep. And then also, if it's going to be a long session, make them aware of your eating schedule if you have one. I always tell my clients, like, hey, after this point in time, unless you want me to be hangry and irritable, I'm going to have to stop and take a lunch, or I'm going to periodically need to take snack breaks, letting your clients know that, hey, bring snacks. Or at our shop, one of the super popular services that we added after the pandemic was to have snacks for our clients that are available. Really not expensive, but it goes a long way. But letting your clients know they can stop and get some calories in them if need be, and that if they want, they can bring themselves a snack as well. One thing that clients have complained about is not being truly aware of the price, just really sticking to what you're going to charge. And then if you're by the hour, be as transparent as possible. Don't charge when you're putting on the stencil. Don't charge when you're going to the bathroom. Don't charge when you're eating. Charge when you're putting that needle to the skin and you're actually tattooing. If you have a set price, then that makes it a lot easier at times, but this video isn't about that. The only piece is just in the consultation to be very transparent on that price. I tell my clients that they can even provide references of not even this type of stuff they want to get done. It could even just be a totally different image, but they like the way it fits and flows on the body's physiology. They like the way that it's shaded or colored, or it's got the way that there's little color highlights in the black and gray, or whatever it is. Those are very helpful. For me, I like to create then a vision board. I take all the references and then I take pictures of the area I'm going to tattoo. I typically take them in good lighting at eye level directly on of the area. That way I can create this vision board on my iPad, and I put all the different references, the pictures of the body part, and then I let it like percolate, like meditate on it and think what would look good with those images on that area of the body. And then I like to design them directly on that image. With these new tools and digital artwork platforms that we have, we can create some really cool looking images, so we can send our client a really solid sneak peek of what that tattoo will look like on their body before they even come in for the tattoo. So I like to have a full rendering prior to them coming in as well. And again, that kind of shows them that you listened to them, that you took their ideas into consideration, that you put forth some forethought, you spent some time beforehand getting prepared for them. This will make them more apt to be okay with the investment they're going to be making on a permanent piece of artwork on their body, as well as they feel comfortable knowing that you've instructed them on what to eat and how to stay hydrated and what to do to prepare for the tattoo. Even if you've in them to bring specific clothing that would make them more comfortable, that you do create this comfortable environment for them, and that will greatly reduce their stress and anxieties, where they come in a better mood, ready to get tattooed. And it just ultimately ends up being a better session, a better product in the long run. And it really starts with you taking these things into consideration when you're getting into that tattoo consultation. If you found value in this, let me know. Or if you have any other tips or tricks or ideas or thoughts to add to it, I'd love to hear it. Drop in the comments below. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.